Welcome to Art Talk Tuesday. As you can see, once again, we're sticking with the black and white. This piece is a scratchboard piece. It is the third piece in my When We Pray series, which is also the title of my book, When We Pray, 8 Meditations on the Aesthetics of Prayer and the Spiritual Life. Once again, and we'll start with the basics. The piece is 15 inches wide by 25 inches high, so a little unorthodox size, not your standard size, but all of the pieces are uniform in that way. This piece is also scratchboard. I talked about once before that this is a subtractive medium. Instead of adding color, if you were drawing, you would be adding color with the graphite, or painting, you're adding onto the canvas. Here, we're pulling the white back out. So it's all black, and then I'm scratching out. So it's a subtractive process. I'm pulling something away. This is the third piece in the series. This is also one of everyone's favorites. They seem to really like this piece for whatever reason. First piece, the third piece, the eighth piece, the sixth piece, I think people seem to like a lot, but get a good feedback on the whole series. So this piece, as you can see, once again, as we talked about before, the hands in all of the images are the hands of the divine, the hands of spirit. In this case, you can see that the hands are making this position. So what they're doing is actually supporting and protecting the figure as they form a column here. You can see these hands form a column that is also, as the palms support the figure. So this is more about the idea of protection, divine protection, spiritual protection, and being sustained and cared for. The pillars here thrusting up. You see everything in a position kind of thrust up. You've got this movement coming in here, so it's keeping it active. This kind of shape here, this kind of S-like shape coming in, and then everything forces the eye to go up off of the canvas. That was done deliberately in terms of working out the composition to keep it a little active. You can also kind of go down and spread, but mostly you want to come in and come up. And so we have the hands here in the sign of protection with the columns pointing up, giving safety and security to the figure which is inside. Also here, supporting the figure beneath. So the whole idea of spirit being a source of safety and a rock or foundation upon which we can stand safely. Here the figure, we can see this is more of a, best you could say, a kind of Buddhist type figure. Here the figure is meditating. You see you've got the right palm under left here, as you can see there with his meditation process. Here I've got the Yin and the Yang, which is a Chinese symbol, basically talking about the continuum of forces in the universe, with Yang being the more active, energetic force, and Yin being usually a more passive force. But remember, Yin can also be very dynamic as well. We're looking at nature, we talk about Yang being the sun, very active, penetrating force. But then we look at Yin and we talk about the ocean, which seems passive, the waves just roll around, but the ocean can also become very powerful and very destructive. So we have that interplay of the yin and the yang, because as you look at the symbol, you see that one is contained within the other. In the, what would just say yang here with the black, the yin is contained within it in the white circle. In the yin here in the white, you see that the yang is contained within it. Repeating this motif, this idea of the interchange, the continuum of forces. We want to think it's either this or that, but actually it's more like a continuum. And you move along different spaces on the continuum from extreme yang to extreme yin. You look at it, I don't know if you're familiar with Tai Chi, but many people who do Tai Chi, they talk about emptying one leg as you placing weight on another. And so this continuum of forces, you may seem like you have 80% on this leg and maybe 20% on this one. And that constantly shifting, that interplay of the forces as the body moves through space. And so we have that whole idea also with our spiritual life. Sometimes we're more active, sometimes we're more passive, even in our personalities as men and women. Women are considered yin, men yang. Yet nevertheless, each of us has seeds of that other within us. Women also have testosterone. Men also have estrogen. So in some ways, we interplay and support one another as we move back and forth in the dance of relationship, the dance of life. So that's kind of what this whole yin-yang thing is about here. If you're looking at this symbol here at the top, this is considered the hand of Fatima. You find this in both Jewish and Muslim tradition, the hand of Fatima, and it's also a symbol of protection. So I'm really doubling down this idea of protection here with the hands forming the pillars, protecting the figure, and the hand of Fatima, the symbol of the hand of Fatima behind the figure, also giving this idea of protection. Here we have the Egyptian eye, the Ankh, that's symbolizing of that. It's not the exact symbol there, but that whole idea of divine omniscience. Also, you see it's coming above the figure. So I wanted to leave that ambiguous. So we're talking about I wanted to leave it ambiguous. So we're talking about the eye of the divine here, providing enlightenment and seeing, or we're talking about the extension of the figure's higher self, providing and seeing, and maybe both and, okay? We're told that we are gods. So that's the whole idea we're playing with here. This symbol behind here is the symbol for the Baha'i faith. I don't know if you know anything about the Baha'i, but the Baha'i faith, they recognize myriad spiritual traditions and ways to the divine. So just symbolizing that here, this whole idea there's always more than one way. We want to get caught up on this is the only way. There is no only way. The only way is to go forward. And so we're looking at this whole idea of the figure. I wanted to keep the figure purposely shrouded and in shadow. That who or what the figure is not important. The fact that he, she, we could even leave that open, is in this meditative, yielded process and being surrounded and shielded in the act of prayer and meditation. And so we do have some protection. Many of us are so scared about quote unquote spiritual attacks or malevolent forces. But if you are grounded and if you are surrounded and you maintain that, you always have a level of protection that nothing can break through unless you allow it to break through. So that's what we're talking about with this piece. The price is $1,500 for this piece. Comes matted and framed, just as you can see here. Prints are available also on my website. You can also buy originals on the website, place an order, but prints are available starting about $30. And I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please like, share with your friends, and I will talk to you next week. Peace.